Hey everybody, how is it going? This is your favorite paranormal investigator, Terry of NSPS TV Paranormal Podcast, and Terry of NSPS TV Paranormal. How are you guys doing tonight? Well, today we have a very special guest. Her name is Miss Victoria Munde. How you doing today?
Oh, I'm doing great. How are you? And thank you so much for having me. I love talking to people. So thank you so much.
No problem at all. Great to have you on my show. Tell the world a little bit about yourself and what do you do?
Where do you want to start? Um, I'm just me. That's all I can say. I'm just that little weird girl in Texas, Well, let's see. I co-host with Mike Ricksecker, Edge of the Rabbit Hole, and it's on Tuesday nights on YouTube and Facebook for another 4 or 5 weeks, and then we're pulling the plug. So we're filling in the rabbit hole, I guess you could say. Mike's going to go off and do some other things, and
wow.
I'll just be here with the cats. I don't know.
Okay.
Also,
tell me a little bit about On the Edge of the Rabbit Hole. What exactly is that about?
it's been the most wonderful opportunity I've ever had in my life. I think I have met so many people. It's a 1-hour talk show, basically. It deals with everything paranormal, esoteric, quantum physics, anything in the woo-woo. We have different guests on each week, everyone from Andrea Perrin to some weird guys whose name I won't mention, but they were fun.
Okay.
But it's been an eye-opener, and I've learned so much from both Mike Ricksecker and from all the guests we've had on.
Okay. Oh, just in case you guys forgot, Victoria is from Southeast Texas. Between the middle of nowhere and nowhere.
Just go down that road. When you get to the cow, take a left. Go down that road a little bit more.
Yeah, right.
Cemetery.
And then take a left, then you'll end up in the middle of nowhere, Texas.
That's right. I actually live 600 steps from the edge of a forest. So
wow.
How cool is that?
On the edge of, and what's the name of this forest by chance?
Jones Forest. It's in Southeast Texas.
Wow.
So it's
any Bigfoot encounters?
It's funny you said that. I personally have not seen Bigfoot, but when they were building the facility I was working in previously, they actually had a Bigfoot encounter. So it was here. They there was 2 guards, of course, on the night shift, and one guard took down the notes and everything, and he goes, "I'm not reporting that." And the other guards, "You've got to report it." I was like, "I'm not reporting that." And it took him a few days, and so there is actually a documented Sasquatch sighting in this part of Texas. It's
wow.
You can Google it and find it.
You know what? I don't even know if they come this far east.
Not anymore.
Southeast. I don't know, but I've known them to be up in the northeast part of Texas, like up there by Huntsville and Tyler and that whole Arkansas area over there.
Up in the what do they call that? The famous guy. I forgot. The forest up there. My mom is buried up near San Augustine, so they have a lot of them up there. And I happened to be in Jefferson, Texas a couple of weeks ago, and I was staying at the historic Jefferson Hotel. My little voice said, "You need to get your butt up, go to Jefferson now." And so, okay. So I got up. It was a Wednesday. It turns out I was the only guest there the whole night. So
really,
well, the only guest that was living. The owners were there. So that was fun. But when I literally went across the wrong side of the railroad tracks, there was a big Sasquatch statue. I'm like, okay, what's going on here? So I stopped in the building. I said, what's going on with Bigfoot over here? And she goes, well, we have the world's biggest, or the Texas's largest Bigfoot conference in Jefferson, Texas.
That is something. Okay, it also said that you're the founder of Wildwood Paranormal. Now, are you still part of that team, or you're no longer?
I am Wildwood now.
You are Wildwood.
I've slowly let people drift away. When you kind of don't jive.
Yeah, trust me. I let people go all the time.
Hi, I just don't include them the next time. And all of a sudden it was just down to me. But the whole purpose I wanted to do with Wildwood, I don't like to say, well, okay, last week I met a very nice lady and I said, hi, I'm Victoria. Who are you? And she said, I'm blah, blah, psychic medium. I'm like, okay, well, I didn't ask for your credentials. I just, asked what's your name. So I'm not like that. I would say I'm intuitive. And for the longest times I've heard voices in my head. My mom always said, no, you're just making that up. And it turns out the voices are actually people who've crossed over. And I did a couple of past life regressions and I found out that's actually the voice of the collected is what they're calling it now. So I always thought it was my spirit guide or, Bigfoot or, grandpa or somebody. But it's like a collective information that I keep hearing. Where was I going with this story? Oh, anyway, they told me to get up and just go to Jefferson. So I did.
Wow. Okay.
Wildwood. You were talking about Wildwood. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes, Wildwood.
Part of the thing I wanted to do with Wildwood, since I do hear the voices and stuff, and I'm finding out more and more that I'm accurately hearing voices. I just wanted to give validation to those who don't have a physical voice anymore. People just, It doesn't matter if you're dead or alive, if you're a human, or if you're a fish or a cat or dog, you want to be heard, you want to be loved, you want to be validated. That doesn't change. Once you cross over, you still want to be heard. You still want to be validated.
Exactly.
And so that's all it was. But, I've known people who do that and then they write books and make lots of money off of them. And that's not me. So I just try and help wherever I can.
So you haven't wrote a book yet? Well,
I have 6 out.
Wow, really?
Yeah. Well, okay, there's a funny story. My husband died a long time ago and he still visits from time to time.
Wow.
So I was talking to a gentleman last summer, and I was telling him stories and things I've done. He goes, wow, these are amazing stories. You need to write a book. I'm like,
exactly.
What am I going to do? Call it Victoria Munde's Paranormal Activities, the cartoon or the coloring book? I was like, hey,
might be a bestseller.
Well, okay, I have 6 of them out. But they are all, some for children, some for adults, but they're all dealing with the paranormal somehow. There's games, puzzles, coloring pages, recipes, fill in the little places where you can put affirmations or things you want to work on each month. So you can find them on Amazon. It's just called Victoria Munde's Paranormal Activities. So it's an activity book.
Okay, now when you tell me about the Houston Ghost Tours.
Shh, don't mention that name. What was that? I didn't hear that. I moved back to Texas when my dad got sick in 2013. I was living out in Arizona, and I had a lot of metaphysical they are now metaphysical friends out there. And when I moved back to this part of Texas, where I'm in the Bible Belt. Right. So there's no woo-woo out here, but I did happen to find in Old Town Spring, there was a ghost tour. I'm like, oh, this is going to be fun. I want to go on it. And so I did the paranormal investigation. It was the first time I ever did it. And of course, nothing happened. I was like, well, that's great. So I went again a second time. They gave me like, we'll try again type ticket. And nothing happened again. I'm like, well, phooey-dooey. And then I saw that they were offering employment positions of tour guides. And so it was basically, I learned the history of Old Town Spring and I would take them around and then I would start telling them, hey, when I was over there, I saw blah, 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 blah. And they're like, shh, stick to the script. And I'm like, okay. So it turns out they really weren't interested in the paranormal. They were more interested in the greenbacks. Is that what you call them? Money?
Right,
and it was for entertainment. And I can be entertaining.
All right.
So, but that was one of the things that helped me learn that I could actually, see things that other people don't see or hear things that other people don't hear. So it was an education and I'm very appreciative of that. But unfortunately, we parted ways and I wish them well, whatever they're doing.
Right. Now, it says in your bio that you went to Sam Houston State University.
I am a proud Bearcat. Yes.
You are a Bearcat. That's in Huntsville, Texas, right?
It is. Yeah.
Wow.
Piney Woods. That's what it's called.
We tried to get up there and do an investigation over there at the legendary Demons Road.
I knew you were going to say that.
Yep, you already know. Demons Road is at
Mhm.
Martha's. Is that Martha's Cemetery?
Martha Chapel. Yeah.
Yeah, Martha
Mhm.
Chapel Cemetery.
Yeah.
Yeah, we really tried to get up there during for some reason. We tried to get up there during the winter.
Oh, oh no.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And Central Texas, the weather's different in parts of Texas. It might be
Yes.
85 degrees here, but in Huntsville, it might be minus 20. So
Yeah.
we really don't know, but we really tried to coordinate getting up there, and visiting that legendary road, and that I want to say historic cemetery,
Mhm.
but I'm
Yeah,
not quite sure. It might be historic. It might have
it is.
a marker on there. But we hear a
There
lot
is.
of crazy things about that road and that cemetery. Some good, some not so good.
Okay,
But
here's
I do watch a lot of YouTube channels on about individuals going up there and getting ran out the cemetery and and all that stuff. But the question is, have you been there?
um I'm going to plead the fifth. When I was in
Oh,
okay, when I was in college, it's legendary. It is part of the community. And that's what you do when you're a college student. After the club's closed, you go out to Martha's Chapel, Demons Road, raise some hell. You're still drinking beers out there. And it has kind of a bad reputation just because of the college element.
right.
There are a lot of paranormal things that go on out there. I've been out there, I've seen pictures. Since I moved back to Texas as an adult,
Mhm.
I have been out there. I did go out there one day during the day, and I can tell because you're going down a dirt road
Right.
and the trees start closing in on you, and it gets really scary, especially in the day. And it's so far back in the woods, and I can tell the people who are around that area, that cemetery, their personal property has probably gotten damaged. And when I went there during the day, there was a man standing at the end of his driveway with a rifle, just looking at me.
Oh,
I'm like, okay, I can understand,
yeah.
college kids went out there raising some hell. I respect that, but it's a very interesting place, but I would not go back just because of the human element that goes out there and the human element that lives around there. However, having said that, there are other places in Huntsville you can go. The place where Sam Houston is buried, I think it's Oakwood Cemetery. If you go out through this, okay, you can get really great EVPs of Sam Houston out there too. But you just keep on going through the main gate, and you can look off to the left. There's a little area that the Powells have their family in,
Hmm.
and the Powells are very big in Huntsville. And they have a beautiful, beautiful statue, and it's called Black Jesus because he was some sort of metallic, I'm going to say it was copper, but I don't think that's correct, statue, or yeah, statue. And then over the years, he's oxidized, and he's turned this beautiful, beautiful black color.
Okay.
But you can get really great EVPs out there, and that's one of the things we would do. Well, I never did it, but in hazing when you're at Sam, because Jesus is standing out there with his hands up, and they swear if you're out there long enough, he will turn his hands down, and people run. So
Whoa.
that doesn't happen. But
I would definitely run too if I seen something like that. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah,
I'm definitely I'm out of there. Okay, well, we also wanted to go visit while we were there because the goal was to go do 2 investigations, Demons Road and Huntsville Prison Cemetery.
I've been there. I went there last summer.
Now,
Mhm.
I don't know much about it. I don't know if not the people have done a lot of investigations there.
They really haven't. It's just this open cemetery,
Just
and
the
it's like
open
on a couple of hills, and it's spooky when you first see it. It's just white crosses going all the way across. A lot of the older ones don't have their names on it because these are prisoners who had no next of kin, or the next of kin wouldn't come, or they were executed and no one could claim their body, and they
Right.
just have their prisoner number out there. So
Wow.
there's a lot of famous people out there too. Like now I'm drawing a blank. He was a serial killer. Henry Lucas, I think.
Henry Lee, you know what?
Uh-huh.
We did it a story about him. He allegedly killed a young lady back in the 70s here in Austin, and she was labeled the yellow sock murderer or yellow sock. Anyway, he killed her. He stripped her down, and all she had on left was her socks.
Oh, that's horrible.
And he never claimed that he did it, but I guess the authorities kind of forced him to say that, yeah, I did it, which, you know, he never actually said that he did it, you know, but we actually went out there to look for her body at Georgetown Memorial, because that's where they buried her at, because she was, I think it happened between Georgetown and Round Rock, somewhere over there. And eventually her family ended up coming to get her and ended up taking her back to West Texas to bury her with her family over there. So I did not know that at the time. We were out there because we were looking for her, you know, we just wanted to talk to her, you know, and conversate with her. And we never found her body. I mean, we never found the burial of her. Right. So we kind of put 2 and 2 together and figured that they took her home. Kind of found out that they did take her home. Okay, now this gift that you have, tell me a little bit about this gift.
I don't.
Go ahead.
I don't consider it a gift. I just consider it part of me.
Just a part of you?
Yeah.
You know what? You are the first that said that, you know, because a lot of people that are sensitive to things like that, they do call it a gift, and they do, and they're like you, they're very open to it. You know, I've never had an individual that come on the show and said that they, you know, otherwise, you know, I don't like it. I mean, I don't know why I have it. I wish it'd go away, you know, but most people will actually come on and, you know, it's like, hey, I love helping people. You know, if this is a calling for me, then it is what it is. You know, I just have to adjust my world to it, you know, and sometimes it just get carried on with your kids, you know, and it just goes down, 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 you know, until, well, you know, your great grandchildren have the same gift, you know, and to me, I think it's cool, you know, that you're able to see things.
My mom's side was very intuitive. They all lived up in East Texas. They were up like in Shelbyville and all that up there. And my dad's side is out from like the Glidden, I-10, Glidden, Schulenburg, Weimar, out there. And when I started doing our genealogy, I found out they actually, when they migrated over from Germany, they were actually part Roma gypsies. So that's why, jokingly, I was like, oh, I'm just the paranormal perfect storm, you know, because I got it from my mom and my dad. So it kind of stuck.
You know,
still waiting for George Clooney.
Gypsies. You know what? I really need to reach out to some of them if I can find a true gypsy, and just tell me what your world is about. I mean, I really want to know, because it's so, I mean, their history runs so deep in Europe, you know, all the way back from gypsies protecting, what's that crazy vampire name? You know, it's just so many crazy things that they've done and they've seen. I would love, you know, to find somebody who actually can venture back that far back into their history and actually tell me a little bit about it. You know?
Well, from what I do remember, it would be my great, okay, now I'm going to do the genealogy. My great grandfather or grandmother, I forget which, sister, was very bohemian, if you want to call her that, in the 20s. She married someone here in Texas, you know, someone of a different race. Ooh, that was scandalous. You know, and she lived a different life, very intuitive, just, you know, not in the little box like most people are here.
Right.
You know, free spirit, if you want to call it that. A lot of the black sheep of the family type things, except I think, you know, I'm more tie-dye, more purple. You know, not really a black sheep. Yeah, I like color.
Okay. Well, do you have any kids by chance?
I do. She's at work.
She's at work.
Yeah.
Now, are she's as sensitive as you, or
I think she's growing into it.
she's
A
going
lot of
into
the
it?
times it was, okay, mom, sure, whatever. But I'll tell you a quick story. We had one of the things that always seems to happen to me is an animal will find me right before they die, and we take them in. Right now we have 5 cats. And they were
Wow.
all like at death's doorstep. One was hit by a car, 2 were actually put in the trash can on trash day. One we rescued during Hurricane Harvey, and a feral cat brought one to our door. And this last one, somebody had put in a trash can not too far from us on trash day. He was just the cutest little kitten. So we took him in. But we did take in another cat when we first moved back, and he unfortunately died. And I kept telling my daughter, I see Zach, I see him all the time. I see shadows that go by. When I take pictures, there's little floating orby things.
Hmm.
Like, sure, mom, sure. So the way our apartment was structured, there was like the living room and then a long dark hall, and then you go
Right.
down the stairs because we lived
Okay.
upstairs. And so she was standing in the hallway one day talking to me, and I was in the living room, and she goes, "Oh, no, you don't." And she starts running down the hall. I'm like, "What are you doing?" And she goes, "The cat's trying to get in my bedroom." And I said, "Sweetie, come back. The cat's right here at my foot." And she's like, "Okay, that's weird." And a couple of days later, we were running around getting ready for work and school and stuff. And I'm come running out of my bedroom, and she's standing in the hall, and her mascara is just going down her face. I'm like, "Sierra, what's wrong?" And she goes, "I saw the cat and he ran downstairs, and I went to get him because I didn't want him to go out the door. And when I ran around the corner, there was no cat down there." I was like, "I told you he was here." So when we moved, I have a friend who lives in Austin. You may know him, Saul Ravencraft, but he's an amazing guy. He calls himself the executive occultist, but
Oh,
he's a nice
really?
wizard. He's a really nice wizard guy.
Okay.
And so I go to him for counseling all the time. And I said, "Well, okay, we're moving, and I would love to have this cat come with us, because we see a shadow all the time, but how do I do it?" And he goes, "Well, you've seen Pet Cemetery, so you don't want to tell the cat, 'Hey, this is what you're going to do.' You let the cat do what he wants to do." I'm like, "You're right. I did see that movie." So we left open boxes around the apartment. And so we sat around and talked to him one night. We would love for you to come with us. Jump in the box if you want to come with us. And so we actually moved an empty box to us, with us
Really?
to the new place. And sure enough, we see him from time to time. So I'm like, okay, well,
Just come and
he's
go,
happy.
does what he please, huh?
Yeah, as long as
That'd
he's
be
loved.
a cat ghost, a ghost cat. And that,
Yeah, yeah, we have a lot
interesting.
of them. So,
Wow. Now it says that you studied at Sam Houston State,
mhm.
Bearcat, correct?
Rah,
And
rah.
you also studied TV.
Yes.
Was that a passion of yours that you want,
Um,
or that's something that you just wanted to get into, or?
well, in high school, I really wanted to be in photography. So I was in the photography department, and they said, "Sad news, 2 people have to leave. You can either go to creative writing or you can go to film." I'm like, "Well, I guess I'll go to film." So I spent my high school career learning film and everything. And then when it came to time to go to college, I'm like, "Well, I want to take something easy that I already know." So I went ahead into television and film production, which is what my major is in. But then I've spent my career working in television operations, which is like the engineering side. So it
Right.
seemed
Now,
the thing to do.
do you watch a lot of TV shows, paranormal TV shows by chance?
No, I don't even watch TV.
You don't even
Since
watch TV.
I don't even own a TV. No,
Wow.
since I spent so much time at TV as my job, the last thing I want
Right.
to do is come home and watch TV. So
I feel you on that one.
yeah,
Okay.
no,
Because
I've seen them, I've streamed them, but I don't sit
how do
down
you
and
feel?
watch them.
How do you feel about them?
It's really mixed. Like when Ghost Hunters and Ghost Adventures came out, I enjoyed watching those for the history, because they were going to places I would never ever be able to go to, and
Right.
they brought an awareness to the community, the mainstream people, I guess
Mhm.
you could say. But then it was kind of elitist. I don't mean that in a negative way or anything. But then when people started getting cell phone cameras, then everybody could start doing it. And then everyone started, putting YouTube channels, and look at me, I'm walking through a cemetery. Look at me, I'm doing this. And it's kind of watered down, in my opinion. But I do see, or I hope from the people we've spoken to on our podcast, that it's kind of changing. It's no longer that we have to prove it because we all know it's there.
Right.
Now we're just trying to understand it and
Right.
maybe validate it.
Now, do you think shows like Ghost Hunters and several others, I can't name right now. Do you think they are like you say, they're contributed to the uprising of paranormal investigators and all that stuff? Do you think that they are contribute to the downside as well? Some of the negative things about paranormal investigating, you know, that comes along with it. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I really do think a lot of it is regurgitated. A lot of people haven't studied. I've read for 30 years. I've read, when I worked in the bookstore, I read everything in the metaphysical section. Then I moved over to religion, moved over to philosophy and to history. So I've read everything you can possibly read, you know, and I'm trying to mesh it on all together and figure it out myself. But a lot of people just regurgitate what they see on TV without any background knowledge of why somebody would do something like this or how this could be happening. And I think without that background knowledge, it's really a disservice. So maybe they should pick up a book or something. And I mean this with love in my heart, you know, pick up a book, you know, read a little, turn the TV off, you know, go explore, go find your own thing and you can figure it out.
Yeah, because I think the TV is a lot of unjust. I mean, it's a lot of things that they can tell you one thing, but behind the scenes is totally different.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
There's a lot of screaming demon, 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 which one of my friends was like, when we were doing a paranormal tour, someone asked, well, what is a shadow person? And she instantly said, well, it's a demon. But that's not true. It's just another part of the paranormal world. It doesn't make it demonic or anything. And I don't even really believe in demons. I believe in evil. I believe in negativity and bad people and stuff, but I don't think everything's demonic.
Yeah,
I mean, there are things.
I don't see how you can put two of those in the same category. A demon is something that's never been alive.
Malevolent. Yeah.
I mean, it's never even stepped foot on this earth, or I mean, you know what I mean by step foot on the earth. I mean, it's never been a human entity. But I mean, I think a ghost figure is something that, you know, wants to show itself. You know, I've seen one or two in my life, and you know, and some of the coolest people you ever met. I mean, I was in the cemetery and I just had one follow me all over the cemetery. I was, you know, and I was investigating by myself. You know, I didn't have any backup, anything. I mean, if anything was to go wrong, which I hear it all the time, never go by yourself, never do this, never do that. But, you know, I'm the type of person that if I set on my mind on something, I have to do it. You know, so I had to go investigate that cemetery, and that's what I did. And you know what? Just as curious as I was, I think so. You know, they stayed within a certain distance. I mean, it's not like they actually came up on me, you know. It was just, it was cool to a certain extent, but once you, I don't know, because I didn't feel anything creepy about it. You know, to me, it's just a person just standing there, you know, that manifested itself. You know, you can actually see it, and you can, you know, and if it want to interact with you, I'm pretty sure it could, or if it wants, you know, whatever that they do. I mean, but I'm literally just walking around the cemetery and it's literally following me, you know, and just, I was just going about my way. And to me, it seemed like just curiosity.
It is most of the time. Yeah.
You know,
there was one, my co-host on Edge of the Rabbit Hole, Mike Ricksecker, did this wonderful docuseries called The Shadow Dimension. And I told him my story. When I was out in Old Town Spring, there's several shadow people out there. And there was one that kept following me and I felt like he was trying to protect me all the time. and I was walking into this one building and something knocked me upside the head and I thought I ran into a
Oh,
board and I
wow.
doubled over and I'm like, ah, you know, so I get my phone out and I'm looking for the board and the man behind me goes, you almost walked into that spider web and there was this huge black widow in there. I was like, oh man, I would have walked into the black widow
Right.
had something not hit me in the head. And there was no board, but I think he was looking out for me. And I've always felt protected when I was out there, you know, all hours of the night. But
Wow. Now, where is this place again?
it's just north of the airport in Houston. It's called Old Town Spring. And it's
Old
kind of like a,
Town Springs.
yeah, it's
Now,
kind of like a little touristy thing.
now, which hospital? I mean, hospital. Which airport are you talking about?
What do they call it now? They used to call it Intercontinental. I think it's Bush something.
So it's the big one. It's not
The big airport.
Houston Hobby.
No, the big one,
Oh, okay.
the most
Okay.
north one.
Wow. That and it sits in the middle of nowhere. I mean, because I've been to Houston, but I've been only place I've been on Interstate 10 and 1960. I
Okay.
don't know any other roads besides those two.
It's really close to 1960. It was like where Spring was originally established, and then Spring
Okay.
moved away. And so a bunch of people got together in the late 60s, early 70s and started moving old houses there.
Okay.
And they brought it back as like a little tourist town. So,
Hmm.
and then of course it's very haunted. So
Wow. That sounds like a place where I can
yeah.
definitely check out and see what's going on.
Oh yeah, just call me. I'll show you around. I'll be happy to.
Cool. You're gonna have to be our tour guide if we ever decide to come down there. But we got to get to Huntsville first. I mean, that's our
Yeah.
first. Got to get over there and check things out, make sure everything is a-okay. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
But wow. Okay. Well, what I'm gonna do is I am now this part of it. I'm gonna send you some pictures.
Okay.
I want you to tell me what you think about them. Okay.
Okay.
I want you to be honest because I send these pictures just about to everybody I interview, and I want
Okay.
their honest opinion on what they think it is.
Through Facebook or?
No, I'm gonna send them to
Alright.
you on Messenger.
Okay.
So I think I'll probably send you probably about 3 or 4 of them.
Okay.
And just be honest with me and tell me what you think. Let me see here. They're pretty cool, I think so, but some people say otherwise. Matter of fact, I'll send you like 4 or 5.
Okay.
And hopefully, and just be honest with you, tell me what you think, because we definitely caught these bad boys on an investigation.
Mhm.
All right. I'm gonna put that one in there too. All right, I'm gonna send you 5.
Okay.
And
I'm ready.
tell me what you think.
Whoa. Okay. Whoa. Well, this first one with the green and the red circles, that looks like Bat Boy is the first thing that I saw, but it has, I don't see what the other one is. But that almost looks like some sort of animal face through the tree.
Yeah.
Oh, geez, this one in the big tree. Okay. Yeah, that's kind of like a Grim Reaper face. I can see the distortion. Oh yeah, I see the faces. Do you think they're elementals?
I have no clue. Very interesting. I know
Okay.
the one down bottom to the right side
Uh-huh.
look like the face of a little girl.
Okay, are you talking about the green one? I'm seeing like a green one at the top where the fence is. But I see what you can talk. Yeah, okay. I see a little girl. There's two faces in that one, actually.
Oh,
The one in the bottom right,
I
bottom
did.
right, I see the little girl, and then right above that, right before the top of the fence, there's like a it looks like the Green Man, kind of an elemental.
You know what? I did not see that one up there. But you're right. It does. Now that one on the top,
Mhm.
that looked like
That look,
he has looked like somebody punched him in the eye because he got a very big black eye right there.
looks like he's wearing a hood.
Yeah. That one there is kind of creepy.
Yeah. Okay, so this one going down the hall. That's interesting because the light switch is in focus, but then everything else is blurred, and I'm seeing a shadow person like down in the back.
And what's so weird about that one there? We did an investigation at a nursing home called Early Years Retirement. This nursing home was in Elgin, Texas, and it first opened up in 1950,
Oh.
post World War II. Now, all these, and from where we got our like EVPs and all our information is from whoever was talking to us there. Because the way they were talking, it seemed like they were post World War II, 1950s.
Yeah.
Because some of them, the way it was like dress, simple names that they were saying. And I'm like, wait a minute, that don't sound right. Most of them were like Germany. They was talking German something. And I'm like, wow. And what's so crazy about it is when I actually looked this place up, it was a lot of refugees that came in. They didn't have no place to put their family or their loved ones, so they put them in that nursing home, and they
You know what
passed
else is
away.
there?
What's that?
They had German concentration camps here in Texas.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that is, man, we caught a lot of good evidence there, and it was pretty cool. I want to go back there because I left some equipment there.
Oh no. Is it still open? Or
Yeah. Actually, Elgin made it a urban site. Elgin, Texas actually made it an urban site where you can actually go in and do urban adventures. You can investigate. It's pretty cool. You know, nobody messes with you, you know.
That's good.
So hopefully nobody, hopefully they keep it like that and nobody actually goes in and buy that property, but I'm thinking if somebody eventually will,
Yeah.
But it's pretty cool, dude.
Okay, what is this next one? You're looking out a window and there's a plane.
I have no clue.
Okay, if you look, you know which one I'm talking about? There's a window and there's a plane. If you look in the, where'd it go? In the very, very top of the right-hand side, I see a woman's face.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have no clue on what that was. For a minute there, see, a real bad thunderstorm was moving in and we thought it was lightning. I was like, wow, we caught lightning. But then if you look at it, it looked like it has a shape to it.
It does. Yeah.
But then
That's
see the little guy hiding behind the tree down there.
Oh yeah, I do.
You see that?
Right below the light.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
We don't know what that light is, but long story short was when we did an investigation there, my eyes was focused on that tree the whole time. I was there. And I was wondering, why is my eyes on this tree? I go to one part of the cemetery and I would always look back at that tree. And then come to find out when I seen that picture, somebody was looking at me.
Yeah, it almost looks like he's running in front of it. So you're sensitive too, huh? Yeah. You are.
I don't know.
You are.
But
You are.
that what got me right there, dude. I was shocked when I seen that. And what's so crazy about it, I didn't blow it up on my phone or on my laptop. I actually had to connect it to my big screen TV to get a full view of the pictures. And once I saw that, I was amazed. I was shocked.
Wow.
I
Yeah, this last one, there's like a little boy down at the end of the hall or something, someone shorter.
Yeah. And, you know, I would love to get back there too and actually go back to that certain spot and to see if I can catch something up again. But I don't know. It was kind of creepy.
Wild.
Yeah, it was creepy at the time. And you know what? And having a thunderstorm and paranormal for some reason, I think a thunderstorm and all that energy energizes everything.
It does. Yeah.
It was
It's
just
like it's like having a Jacob's ladder or a Tesla coil. I just sent you something. So, yeah, it puts extra energy, and you can even smell the ozone. Because I've been out there. Yeah, I've been out there. You could smell the energy in the air. So
wow, who's on
crazy.
the roof? That's interesting.
Well, there's no roof.
Huh?
There's no roof. That part of the building was actually there was a fire. Let's see, I took that in 2017, so I want to say 2015. But there are beams that went across, and there was some sort of covering,
Right.
so it wouldn't get rained in. They had like some tin over there. But we think that's Charlie Winchy, who died a few feet over next door in the saloon. But he was up there on the roof one night. But you don't see these when you take pictures. You come home the next day and you're like, oh my God, what was this? You know?
And what is the orb inside the building? Or is that a reflection?
Oh, I think that's just a reflection.
That's a reflection of a flash? Yeah. Okay.
There were some stores behind me. Some of the glass, because it had caught on fire, the windows were so filled with soot. Some of them were broken out, some were in. That was just a crazy.
Wow, whoever
out of nowhere.
Is this you? Did you take this picture?
Yeah.
Wow. That is a great catch right there. I'm gonna have to, you know, Mom, can I post this in my Facebook page? I'm definitely gonna post this in my Facebook page and let the world see what exactly they think it is. That would be very interesting.
Here I have a clean one too, so you can post both of them.
Wow. Now, do you guys have a Facebook page, or do you just have a Facebook?
I started recently one called Victoria Munde's Paranormal Activities. It's on Facebook, but it was mainly I was studying marketing. Just what the heck, I might as well study marketing.
Right.
And that was one of my homework assignments, was to make a business Facebook page. I'm like, well, I might as well do one and promote my own books. So, you know, I'm starting to put stuff out there. Last weekend, was it last weekend? Yeah. I was up in Granbury, Texas, and the Tennessee Wraith Chasers, Tennessee Wraith Chasers. Man, it's hard to say. We're up there. They were doing a benefit for an animal rescue group. And so I thought, I was mistaken. I thought we were going to investigate one building with them, but it turns out we investigated the whole damn town pretty much. So we were walking around. Hey. Go over there now, you know. So
and you know what? I actually reached out to those guys to come on the podcast. They have not contacted me yet back, but I would love to sit down with them. The name itself is kind of creepy.
Yeah.
But you know
they're
what?
Pretty nice. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Victoria, let me ask you a question. What do you think the difference in the paranormal in Southeast Texas compared to any other part of Texas? What makes Southeast Texas so special?
I think we embrace our craziness down here. You know, as I have a lot of friends who live up in Minnesota, Wisconsin, you know, Illinois up there, and they're all, okay, we're going to get our equipment, and we're going to go out here and we're going to search, and we're going to do this, and we're going to document. And then people like us, you know, this house is fairly active. I'm like, oh yeah, I saw the guy in the mirror again, you know. You know, there's at least 5 different spirits that live here, and they pop up all the time. And
Ah,
they're not harmful. One guy is a cute little blonde guy, and he pops up every now and then when I'm like cleaning the mirror. I can see his reflection. He's always
hmm.
waving. So he's really nice. I mean, it's just, again, I think it goes back to people just want to be validated, and they want to be heard, and they want to be loved. And it's no different, than when you're alive. So if he's passing through, he pops in
Right.
every now and then and
Now,
brings.
do you think, considering you guys are not too far from Louisiana, do you think that has some kind of influence on paranormal over there?
I think it's our culture, because we embrace it. We are steeped in mysticism and lore, and we have the stories and the histories, and we're always talking about our ghost and crazy stuff. And it seems like the people up north are a little bit more um, confined. I don't mean that in a negative way, but they're more, well, this just doesn't happen. Like, well, it happens down here all the time.
You'd be
Maybe it's the
surprised.
humidity.
Now, I am going to send you, another picture, and I want you to tell me what you think about it. And you know what? I just saw this. Let me see. Did I pull that picture up? Actually, I didn't, but it got my attention because I was looking on Facebook, and it says that Texas is #1 of all the states of paranormal activity. Do you believe
Really?
that?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Because I was out in Seguin, I think, at the Immortal 32 house.
Okay.
And you're familiar with that?
Uh,
They were the 32 that actually went to the Alamo when they called out for help, and they were instantly massacred. But it's in
nah.
Seguin.
Wow. No, I
Yeah.
didn't know. The only thing
Um,
that the only one that really stands out in Seguin is the hotel. I can't think of the name of it offhand. What's the name of that hotel? It was on all the TV shows and everything. I can't think of the name of it. But no, that's the first I've heard of that one.
okay. Do you know who Russell Rush is? He's a DJ in San Antonio. He has a paranormal group, and they were doing hey, come out and meet us, and it was a benefit to help rebuild it's a log cabin out there.
Okay.
And so the story goes that the county is named after him, and I'm drawing a blank. His group, he had a militia group, and they actually went to San Antonio, or they went to the Alamo when they called out for help, and they were killed. And then Santa Ana came back from the Alamo and actually stayed at his house, because it was like the only house out there, and camped on the grounds, and then went to San Antonio or San Jacinto, and what happened there. But nothing was really going off, and we were in the log cabin, and we had a bunch of REM pods. And when Russell started speaking Spanish and talking about Santa Ana, REM pods started going off like crazy. And so
Really?
I was like, whoa, I just got the shiveries. But I did see the lady there because I like to joke. Life is not so serious.
Right.
It is, but you have to make light of it sometimes. And so everybody had gone into the kitchen. I said, oh, I'll be there in just a minute. And so I was walking into the kitchen, and I saw the shadow of a very small woman. Her hair was pulled back straight, very, very tight, and she had a very triangular chin. And she looked at me, and the door slammed in my face. Like she didn't want me in there,
That is
I'm
something.
like, how rude. And I opened the door, and they're like, what? I was like, a lady just slammed the door in my face. But yeah, she scared the crap out of me. I learned, okay, that's her kitchen, and I get it. My grandmother was the same way. It's my kitchen. Get out of my kitchen.
Yeah.
So right. Okay. So I understand that. That was a fun place. Yeah, get out of my kitchen.
I just sent you another photo. Tell me what you think. I mean, we were just talking about that.
Oops. Oh, the one with the most haunted states.
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe it. There's so much. Well, all the cowboy and Indian movies, if you want to think about it, look how many took place in Texas, and then the hurricane in 1900, and then all the crazy people out oh, I don't want to say that. All the things that have happened out like at Fort Hood, you know, so many shootings out. Is it Fort Hood? Am I in the right state? That had so many shootings out there. You know, there's always like somebody loses it. And then even in Kilgore, there was a you know, mass shooting out there probably back in the 80s, and people had to hide in the dishwasher and stuff. So there's been a lot of violence, and yeah. And
but you know what's so interesting about this?
What's that?
Is Louisiana. Look how far down they are compared to states like California, Ohio, Michigan, Illinois, Pennsylvania, Indiana, New York, Virginia.
Yeah.
I mean, even Kansas, Arizona, Maine, Arkansas, Colorado, Louisiana is so far down.
I wonder why.
Louisiana should be like one of the most haunted states in the country.
That's funny. I was just talking to someone the other day who asked me about New Orleans, and he said he lived there and he never had anything paranormal happen to him. I was like, well, shoot, I wanted to go there and look. You know? But there's actually a ley line that goes just north of Intercontinental. Is that what they call it now? Intercontinental, Bush Intercontinental Airport. So I don't know if you'd really want to have a ley line where an airport is.
No,
so far
I wouldn't.
No crashes or anything, but it does kind of go through Old Town Spring where all these hauntings are. So I don't know. It's just so interesting.
Yeah. You'd be surprised on that.
That's fun.
Okay. How many, now you was the founder of apparently 2 paranormal teams?
No, just the one.
Just the one?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, what's your limit on investigators are you allowing per your team? Because me myself, I only have 5. I mean, I've heard people go up to many as 40.
Oh, no.
You know, me, I think that's too much.
Oh, that's way too much. As far as my team goes right now, it's just me, because the people I tried to work with are so steeped in superstition and what they've heard on television. And it's like, well, that's not the way it really is. And I'm not confrontational, and I'm not going to argue with anybody. I'm just not going to fight you back next time. So it's really hard to find people who think like me, kind of, you know, it's more giving validation. I don't need to prove the paranormal exists, because, you know, why don't I just go out and prove gravity exists? Because we all know it's there.
Right.
And that's the way a lot of people are thinking right now. It's like, I have to prove I'm driven. This is my calling. I'm like, okay, well, if that's your calling, that's fine. You go do that. I'm not going to argue with you.
Yeah. You know what? And to be honest with you, I've had the same problem, you know, and what's so crazy about Cedar Park, it is so conservative here. It is unbelievable.
Yeah.
I mean, living in Northwest Williamson County is probably one of the most conservative counties in Central Texas. So when I reach out to people, or people reach out to me, you know, and explain to me what's going on in their house or their property or whatever, it's all fine and dandy at the moment, because you're just as curious and wants to know what's going on. But as time gets closer and closer for us to go and investigate, I'll get this phone call. It's like, hey, I changed my mind. I don't think I can do it. I don't think I can handle the publicity.
Right.
You know, so, you know, if there's any way that we can do this another time, you know, blah, 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 you know, and it really pisses me off, because I'm all hyped up for it. I mean, I'm excited, you know, for one, because I like to help people out, you know, and if there's something going on in your house, you know, I just want to help you think you're not crazy. I want to be able to go and validate what's going on. So people, so you don't think you're crazy. But then again, there are some people out there who says, well, you know, it's okay. Well, it is okay, you know, but don't you want to understand on what's going on? I'm that type of guy that loves to help people out, so, just having that validation of somebody thinking that you're not crazy, I think that goes a long way.
It
You know what I'm
does.
saying? And
I worked,
who gives a shit on what your next door neighbor think? You know,
right.
because here's the thing, because if it's the property, not your home, I can almost guarantee you your next door neighbor is probably having the same problem.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
So just because they
Yeah.
think you're kind of creeped out because you got shit going on, well, they could have the same shit. Only
Who knows?
thing is they too uptight to even mention it. So that's what I look at here in Central Texas, Williamson County. I trust me, I go through that just about every month. I just lost a medium, who's never been on an investigation with us, and she's just decided to up and move to Georgia.
Oh, well, they
And,
have a lot
and I'm
going on
like,
there too.
yeah. And I'm like, okay, but that's why we always keep our teams to 4, maybe 5, headstrong individuals. Not, I'm not saying that everybody's out here weak-minded, but you got to be headstrong to be a paranormal investigator.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know what I'm
I worked
saying?
with, yeah, I worked with two ladies who were doing house cleanings or cleansings. And the first one we went into, um, you could just feel the oppression that was coming through. And it turns out it was the woman's father who had passed. He was very controlling and very, I think he might have had some health issues, and he was a manic depressive and everything. And it so happens we had all of our REM pods and everything in the kitchen, and they had like a baby gate to keep the dog out.
Mhm.
And I was going into the kitchen and I tripped over it. So I kind of like fell into the kitchen, and all
Oh,
the REM
damn.
pods started lighting up. I'm like, hi, I'm here. Do you want to talk? And so I was talking to the man that was there, and I kept hearing over and over and over that he has to be there to make sure she's okay. And, it's his responsibility as the father to be there to make sure she's okay. So I kept talking to him and I said, she's an amazing woman. Look at the children she's raised. Look at the business she owns. You did a
Right.
great job. You can go on, you can always come back and visit, but you don't have to stay here because you did a great job. You were a wonderful dad. And then a couple of days later, she called us and said, it just feels so different now. It's lighter. She's not so depressed all the time. I was like, well, that's all it is. That's
Wow. Now,
validation. It's all it is.
all it is. What kind of equipment do you use? What kind of equipment do you have?
I have it all.
Do you have it all, or do you use your special gift as because trust me, I've seen paranormal teams or investigators who don't have a camera, who don't have a mic, don't have a K2. They just go in and just with their senses, and they like, wow.
Yeah.
I mean, I
They
don't
pick
need
up on it.
any of this because my body tells me everything that I want to know.
Exactly. I have all the equipment because that's what you were supposed to do. I have everything. I don't use it. I use a digital recorder, and I have my cell phone that I take pictures with, and I have a full spectrum. That's it.
Yeah.
And I've caught some amazing evidence. But do you want to hear a funny story? I can tell you a quick funny story. Okay. I have back problems. I have a lot of friends that do Reiki. My logical brain says Reiki does not work. My body says, yes, it does. It just can't be so simple as slapping a rock on something and making it better. But
Right.
I don't know, it works. So we were driving down to Yorktown from, East Texas, went down to Yorktown. That was a long ride. So I actually took some duct tape and I put selenite on my back. So,
Oh, wow.
And when I got out of the Jeep, my back didn't hurt. So, but I was taking my duct tape off my back, and I was like, oh, my rocks are hot. And one of the guys who didn't really know me goes, I'm sorry, what? I said, my rocks are hot. The ones I had on my back are really hot. So I guess they were absorbing energy.
Right.
And he goes, well, I'm going to start calling you hot rocks. I'm like, no. that's going to get me in trouble. Don't call me Hot Rocks.
Right.
So we're down in the basement of Yorktown, and he has his puck and some REM pods, and I think we had K2, this and that. And people mean well, but they don't understand. They're copying what they see on TV, and they're like,
exactly.
Is there anybody here? Can you light up the K2? Can you make it go to the green? Can you go to the red? And I was thinking to myself, okay, it's not up to me to tell them that they're full of crap. If this is what they want to do, let them do it. They need to go on their own journey. But if I was a ghost, I would not answer. And so they left, and I was down there with two of my friends, and I said, now it's time for Hot Rocks to try her stuff. K2's lit up. I'm like, oh my God.
Wow.
So every time I said the phrase Hot Rocks, it would, everything would start lighting up. And I started thinking, well, whoever's down there has a sense of humor. So, I mean, and I kind of like thinking that, when you cross over, you keep your sense of humor. And, I would be peeved too if people kept going there and saying, can you light up my K2?
And what I came to realize, especially at our last investigation, I came to realize that in life and in death, you are the way you are. Mm-hmm. You're not going to change. So we were investigating, like I said, the old nursing home, and I kind of felt out of place there. For one, it seemed like the spirits wouldn't talk to me. Mm-hmm. But the other two members of the team having conversations, K2 light up, you ask specific questions, the motion ball would come on, but with me, when I asked the question, I got no response whatsoever. And, and I kind of felt like,
what am I doing wrong?
No, not that. I felt like, number one, I had to think about the time and the place where these individuals came from, mm-hmm. and the year that these people possibly have passed on, mm-hmm. And that's why they wouldn't talk to me. It was kind of weird, because Ken, an older white gentleman that's a part of our team, Betty was one of the entities or ghosts that was communicating. So Betty mm-hmm. communicated great with Ken, but did not communicate with me or Chad. Now, Chad he is a new age hippie.
Sounds like me.
He's a new age hippie, which back then hippies they were outcasts as well. Right. They really didn't, socialize except for with their own kind. Hippies, mm-hmm. But it seemed like they only communicated with certain individuals of the team. Like I said, so it didn't communicate.
They kept their prejudice.
Yeah, it didn't catch me. And what's so crazy about it, most of these people were from European descent, because remember, they were refugees coming mm-hmm. in from post-World War II. You know what I'm saying? So right. I looked at that and I'm like, wait a minute, I thought about it. I'm like, well, hey, I can see why there was no communication between me or Chad. Now, I also realized that women will only, if you're a female paranormal investigator, a woman ghost will only certainly speak to only a female investigator. For some strange reason, I've noticed that, and I really, and a man back in those days will, how can I say it? They will only speak to the pretty women, because I've had that. Really? They wouldn't speak to me or speak to Chad. They would only speak to the pretty woman. That's
really interesting.
It's kind of weird how that whole place played out on itself. You know what
I
I'm
want to
saying?
go now. Oh, sounds fun.
Oh, it was very interesting. Trust me. So, you know, and it was just weird how, you know, how certain people will still carry on the same crap that they were doing when they were alive.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
That's
So
interesting. Yeah.
it's weird.
Ah, that's really interesting.
Yeah, I
I have
mean,
not encountered that yet, but that's cool. When we were up in the haunted hill house in Mineral Wells, everybody was when we went upstairs, there were like 5 or 6 rooms, and everybody was in rooms, which was the brothel. But I was standing at the top of the staircase, and I can smell things really well. And I started smelling. There's no nice way to say it. It smelled like a section of body odor and a section of whiskey. And one was in front, one was behind me, and it started pressing in on me. And then I started getting the feeling like, okay, this is 2 men, you know, pressing up against me. And then there was inappropriate touching going on. So then I snapped out of it and moved. And I was telling other people this, and they're like, oh, no, that doesn't happen. And then you can hear somebody down the hall, oh my God, it smells like body odor. You know? So it was moving from room to room. It would be with me for a little bit, and then it would just dissipate. And then it was like down the hall. And you could hear them screaming throughout the house, oh my God, what is that?
Yeah.
It's like, yeah. So I do think that was 2 perhaps former patrons of the brothel who were just hanging around, you know, trying to find a good time gal or something.
Oh, yeah. You'd be surprised. Tell me one of your most haunted locations you've been in.
Mineral Wells was amazing. The whole house was amazing. Well, and you know, the baker, oh man, I can't wait till they open the baker. I really want to go in there. But the Haunted Hill House had a lot of stuff going on. And I was picking up on names like crazy. There were indigenous people who were coming in. I was like, okay, there's somebody here named Chief. And the guys who were there were like, okay, yeah, Chief is somebody who comes here. And when Chief shows up, all the activity stops. I'm like, okay, I'm seeing Chief. He's very tall. He's very pissed, and he's coming this way. And right after that, all the activity stopped. And
Really? Wow.
so the next morning, they were telling me about this girl who had been murdered, I want to say in the late 80s. And I was like, okay, she's standing over there. And they're like, oh yeah, if you can see her, describe her. So I described her. And they're like, holy crap, she could see her, you know, and I saw how her jaw was broken, you know,
wow.
and she was crying, and her, you know, her eyes were swollen because she'd been crying. And I described her to a T. But they never found her murderer, but they actually found her cell phone. I found out a few months ago, back behind that house. And so that was like the last place she probably was. So she was probably killed somewhere over in that area. So that was kind of spooky. Yorktown, you know, everyone's like, oh, Yorktown, it's so scary. It's not scary. Well, okay, they do have big roaches. That's kind of scary.
Wow, speaking of roaches, oh, dude, that's pretty funny. You brought back a story, man. I got a phone call about it. It was pretty cool. Now, how do you feel? Because I know you've been to Yorktown and all these big places. How do you feel about paying to investigate?
I don't. Okay, there are certain companies here in Texas, and I won't mention their names, but they charge an exorbitant rate. And
exactly.
And we paid to get into Nazareth because that is the only way you can get into the Nazareth hotel or hospital. And there were probably 200 people there running around screaming. I'm like, well, this was a waste of my $100+. And so
exactly,
I was really insulted. But I have a really good friend who has started her own company, and she's like, we're going here. And it's always a small group. And so I go with her. So yeah, I don't mind paying if it helps keep it up, you know, and keep the operational costs down. I mean, I'm all fine with that. But as far as these big pay to play groups where it's hundreds and hundreds of people,
I'm the same way, you know, because there is so many places that no investigator has stepped foot on. So I'm that type of guy. I am, you know, if you know, I don't mind paying, but if I can get the same results at a place I don't have to pay for, I'm going to go to the place I don't have to pay for. Now, that's not saying that I'm cheap. I'm just saying,
No.
I'm just thinking logically here, and trust me, Yorktown, I think they done made more than enough money.
It's about to fall down. One of the scariest things I saw, have you been there? On the first floor, the wall is curved. It's about to crumble and somebody's going to get hurt there because we didn't sign a waiver.
And I hope
that
it
building
won't be me, So yeah, so I'm the type of guy, I'm the type of guy that our paranormal team likes to investigate places that nobody's been to.
The whole state. I mean, there's so many places you can go.
Yeah, there's so many places you can go. So I can get the same results. If I go some unknown place, then Yorktown, the hotel in Seguin, I forgot the name of it.
I have to look that up now.
I can't think of the name of it. Or, and just get the same results, and I'm like, if I can get the same results, I'm not gonna pay for it. Another thing is when people come to me and tell me, hey, Terry, man, I've been to the most haunted place in Texas. Oh, dude, you see the steam coming out of my head. I mean, I'm literally smoking. The first question I have to ask is, how do you know?
Right?
If you've never been to every haunted place in the state of Texas, just because of the reputation, it says, oh, it's the most, somebody gave it that reputation, but we really don't know. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that what aches me the most, dude, when somebody comes up to me and tells me, oh, well, the only reason I can call it that because, the experience I've been there, the experience, it's just a very active place. But you know what? If you go down the street, turn to the left, then turn back to the right and see that old creepy old house nobody's actually been in or nobody wants to go to, hey, it could probably be just as haunted and just as creepy as this hotel over here. You don't ever know it until you go over there and see. You know what I'm saying?
You don't even have to go into buildings like forest. Oh my gosh, there's so much going on in the forest. There are elementals there. I've actually seen a gnome. I didn't believe in them, but I saw one. It showed up on the SLS. I'm like, what's a gnome?
We don't have forests here in Central Texas. I wish we did.
Yeah.
But
just come on over.
there are plenty of Native American land here that where they have, how can I say? They have messed up on, dude. They built things they shouldn't build, and the Native Americans are not happy about it at all, and they're going to make themselves known that they're not happy by making your life not happy, especially if you go build a house on their property, And you know what? And Native Americans are cool people. It's just how you just got to respect the land. You got to respect them.
That's right.
If you don't, if you don't do that, then you're gonna be in a world of hurt.
Yeah, they were so disrespected. I mean, they were done wrong.
Yeah,
there's just no way about it.
I can tell you a story about this cemetery that we went to. One of our very first investigations was called Babyhead Cemetery.
I've heard of that.
Yeah. Actually, the Native Americans warned the settlers not to come, stay away. Don't let us go to violence to have to hurt you guys to stay off our property. Well, the settlers just kept coming and coming. It was a big uprising. The Native Americans said, no more. The next time you guys come in, we're going to kill you. And that's what they did. And to set an example for you guys not to come here, they chopped off the baby's head, put the head on the mountain, and for the warning for all of you settlers coming into our territory, it's not going to happen anymore. So they did that. Settlers quit coming. But when we investigated that cemetery, the body of that child is still in. That's one of the first burials there.
Yeah.
And we did an EVP there, and we did the SLS camera there, and we actually saw the shape of a little baby with no head.
Ooh.
Standing right over its grave.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. Oh, dude, freaked me the hell out.
Get the shivers.
And what's so crazy about it is somebody called the cops on us that night.
I know.
Yeah. So when Llano County Sheriff showed up, luckily they were cool, and luckily we were on public property.
Right.
You know, because it was a state. It had a historical marker on it, so they couldn't kick us off. Well, the cops was like, "Oh man, I'm into this." Okay, well, you're into this? Come here, let me show you something. White cop, black cop. The black cop wasn't too sure. He was like, "No, man, I don't mess with stuff like this. That's something I don't do." But in order to protect his partner, he went down there anyway. So we went down there to where her gravesite was, and we actually pulled up the camera again. He's like, "What do you think about this? You want to see evidence? Look at this." And at first she didn't pop back up, but once we started talking to her, she came up. And the cop literally freaked the hell out. He's like, "Oh man, what the hell is that?" The black cop was all paranoid. I mean, I can tell he was paranoid because the way he was grabbing his gun belt. And I'm like, "Dude, there's no gun can help you here." No gun can help you here. So, we end up they end up hanging around for a good 20 minutes investigating with us. So I'm like, "Hey, at the end of the investigation, we'll all get together and say a prayer." Well, we did that, and just so happened, once again, I'm lost some equipment down there, so I had to walk back down there, and the cop was like, "Hey, I'll walk back down with you," and I'm like, "Okay, well, cool, come on, dude," and and we were down there a good 10 minutes, and I left the flashlight on the headstone. And I was just talking in general, and I just happened to say, "Hey, before I go, can you please turn this flashlight on for me?" And the flashlight cut on. Hey, the guy was white, but he was white. But when we got back up there into the light, he's like, "Man, I've never experienced anything like that before in my life." He actually thanked us for sharing their experience with us, with him. The brother, he was ready to go. He had enough. And I'm like, well, being an investigator, it just takes a little time and a little patience. If you ask the right questions, you get the right answer. And that's something I think we did that night. I mean, it was a pretty cool, we drove almost 2 hours, for an hour, maybe an hour and a half of investigating, but that's what it's all about, and just having those 2 cops there, oh man, just to having that extra validation, because I'm pretty sure once they got back to their office, I'm pretty sure they told that story.
Oh, they did.
I'm pretty sure they told that story.
Do you think they're because personally I never go to cemeteries because when it's my time, I'm not going to be hanging around no cemetery. I might be down at the kolache shop or something.
Yeah,
but, that's just me. But do you okay, I'm not going to say that. I was going to say something, but I'd get in trouble. I'd be somewhere that would make me happy. Do you find that there's a lot more activity in cemeteries than in houses or stuff? I mean, because when I've gone to cemeteries, well, a couple of times.
Good question. Because I've always come to find out is the cemeteries I've been to has been unsettled, because I've been to like a lot of slave cemeteries,
Yeah.
and where they were done, things were not just right in
Okay.
in that cemetery. But if I went to like a cemetery where it's like,
Like one
how
of the
can
big
I?
ones.
Yeah,
Yeah.
one
Like
of the big
Earthman's
ones.
or something. Yeah.
Yeah, and nothing. So I can see where, I guess it depends on the cemetery and what kind
Yeah.
of trauma that these individuals went through. Like a slave cemetery, man, it's just so much drama there, and chaos, and a lot of things happening to these people. Not only they want to be known, they want to be heard, and they have a story to tell. So
Oh,
anytime
yeah.
I go to a place like that, all you got to do is just sit back and listen, and they would tell you
Yeah.
everything.
There, the cemetery where Sam Houston is, when I was in school many, many years ago, it was always wooded. And then after I graduated, they started clearing it away. They found part of a slave cemetery.
Oh
So
yeah.
go to Oakwood, and there's just a section of white crosses. I don't think it has anyone's names on it, but it looks different than the rest of the headstones. It's just white crosses going all the way across.
Well,
That's the old slave cemetery.
I'm glad you mentioned that word Oakwood. Is there an Oakwood cemetery in every damn city in the state of Texas?
There is. It's a cool name.
Because Oakwood here in Austin is totally segregated. I mean,
Yeah.
it sits in the middle of downtown Austin, but it is so segregated by four sections. Now, the section we went to was, at the time we didn't know, because during the day they shut that place down and you're not able to get in there. If it's city funded, they shut them down. And they have a heavy police presence driving around, so nobody can get into. But the Hispanic side we were on, calm. Didn't have any, I didn't even pick up the EVP. I didn't pick up anything, nothing. But once we went to the Hispanics, Native Americans, Blacks, and Caucasians. Yeah, so when we went to the Indian side of the Oakwood Cemetery, it was quiet. And the Caucasian side, it was quiet. But once we got to the Black side of the cemetery, you start picking up stuff.
Yeah.
A little bit here, a little bit there, but it's a little bit more active than the other three. And that caught my attention as well. And I'm like, oh man, what the heck is going on? So I had to do like a little research on why it was like that. And come to find out is most of those plots that was in the cemetery was a lot smaller. A lot of the family members weren't able to get in there. So they had to relocate some of the other family members to other cemeteries. And that's, big, because, when you're a family and you buy plots, it's for the whole family. So once, I guess, they just, they decided to move them over to somewhere else, spirits got angry. Because I tell you what, if I'm dead and I don't see my wife next to me, I want to know why.
Yeah. Where's she at?
Or if my son is right, if I'm right there, my wife is there, but my son ain't there, or my daughter ain't there, or my grandchildren, I will want to know why. So, and I will want to ask questions. So I got that, that impression of that was going on, but it's kind of weird how that works, but it works like that, it's a shame.
I've come through across a couple of cemeteries. There's one in Richmond. I can't think of the name. My brain's gone today, but it has like Jane Long and a lot of the important Texas pioneer people are there.
Right.
And then off in the corner, there's just a group of graves. Then it turns out that's segregated back over there.
Segregated graves, yeah. You're not allowed to do that. That not back in them days anyway.
Yeah, now people are people to me. I don't care.
Well, the thing
But-
is, back then, they bury you to bury you. Now, it's a money thing.
Oh yeah.
It's big time money. Hey, I can go open up a funeral home and and make a ton of money just because somebody passed away.
Mhm.
Then
Yeah.
they'll put you wherever, they don't care where you're at now. It's
Yeah.
just a money thing.
Yeah, they play on the grief. So
Yeah.
it's unfortunate. So yeah, my dad passed away last June. And so the family all went back for the reception, if you want to call it that. They get together where you have the barbecue and the beer. Yeah, whatever you call it, the wake, or whatever it's called. But a friend of mine was playing with my obulus and she was, let's go back. I'm like, I don't want to go back. They just buried my dad. Fine, let's go back. And it was June in Texas, and I was sweating. My hair was
That was hot.
Yeah, it was noon. I was in black. I was bitching. So she turns on the obulus and it says immersion. I'm like, okay, well, he just got buried. And it said hair. I'm like, well, yeah, I'm bitching about my hair because it's stuck all over my head. And then it said bridge complete. I was like, wow, okay, now I believe this is true. Because he crossed over the bridge. Somebody was there. He's gone. But ironically, a couple of weeks ago, when we were doing our podcast, we were doing here, we do a systems check right beforehand, and we had a psychic on, Jim Hunt. And it's the same thing. I'm in my living room and, we turn on the camera and he goes, there's a man sitting behind you on the chair on the sofa. I'm like, well, there's nobody sitting over there. And he's like, no, there's a man sitting behind you. So I find a picture of my dad and I flip the phone around. It's like, is this him? And he goes, yeah, that's the guy. He's sitting there. He described him, his mannerisms, the way he acted. I'm like, yeah, that is exactly my dad. So
wow.
Who knows? He may be over there right now.
Yeah, he might be. I better say hello.
Yeah. Hello, sir.
How you doing, buddy?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Well, if you had to explain the paranormal world, give me your best. Just give me your best summary on what you think it is out there.
Well, when I did the ghost tours, there was always a skeptic, and that was always like a personal challenge. I'm going to convert you before this tour is over. And so I started explaining it scientifically the best way I could. And if you go back to the first law of thermodynamics, where energy just shifts, can't be destroyed, that explains it right there. So it's just, you move from one realm of energy to another. Where you go after that, I don't know. I have a guess, but I don't want to, it's just a guess. But the paranormal is part of life. It's just another phase of life when, it's around. I don't think it's separate. It's not like you're here and human and then you die and you go off to the waiting room. I think it's, you're still here somewhere, some of your energy remains. And so like if my dad's sitting over on the sofa, well, there's some books over there he could read probably,
Right.
We don't have TV,
Right.
So I think it's.
Or do you think life recycles itself?
Ooh.
And it's your choice if you want to be recycled or just be where you are. Because the reason why I'm saying that, because how do you explain, because to be honest with you, I've seen this in kids.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen kids where their grandmother has died and a child is born.
Right.
And
Yeah.
This child is just like his grandmother. Color.
It's true.
Hair. Just
exactly.
about everything that this kid did, this individual who passed away, is the same. I believe in reincarnation. I mean, it has to be there.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen so much of it. I mean, especially with the two we have in our family, it's weird.
Yeah, I did that. And if I disappear, I apologize. I forgot to plug my computer in. I was looking for the power cord.
I
just got a low battery notice. I did, we're Facebook friends, and I did a thing the other day. They have this face swap, right now. It's an app and you could put your face on an old person from 1920 or whatever. And I did it, and I look exactly like my grandmother. So, and people have always compared me to my grandmother's, like, y'all have the same eyes, you have the same giggle, same dimples. So I'm like, okay, who knows? But my best friend died when I was 27, and my daughter was born when I was 30. She acts so much like her. It's weird, and I asked her one time when she was little, she was about 2. I said, can you go over to the table and pick out your picture? And so she went around and she picked a picture out of the very back, and it was my friend Cheryl. And she says, this me? I'm like, okay.
Really? Wow.
So I don't know. I don't know if they're guiding her. I don't think she's reincarnated. But then again, maybe. I don't know.
You won't know until you actually cross that road. I mean,
yeah.
I'm curious, because every time I see these kids, they remind me of their grandmother and their aunt. Same color, same. Now, what's so weird about it, Victoria? The sisters were twins.
Oh.
They were twins.
Uh-huh.
And guess these kids were twins.
Oh yeah, there's something there.
There's boys. they're boys, and these 2 were girls. Now, the grandmother and the kid, they look alike, same hair, same attitude. Oh, wow. And believe it or not, they actually, because the grandmother drank a lot of beer. She was like a beer drinker. Yeah. And believe it or not, the way that this kid holds his bottle is the same way the grandmother holds the damn beer.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, oh my freaking God, dude. Check this out. It's crazy. Now, the other one is a little bit light complected, and she was the Hellraiser. Now, these kids are 2. I think they're going to be 3 now. But this little one here was the Hellraiser. Dude, I'll tell you what, the doll that they have is not catching no rest. That kid pulling the tail. Just a pair of Hellraiser doing the same thing that she would have done. Well, she's done a lot worse. She got in all kind of trouble, but it was the same thing. And I'm like, oh my God, Denise and Dusty reincarnated. Jimmy, and what's so crazy about it, the names are Denise and Dusty, Jimmy and James.
Well, there you go. It's
it's crazy. And if you see these kids, you'll probably say, yeah. And I always called little Jimmy little Denise, and the other one's little Dusty.
That's funny.
Yeah, these kids are something else, dude. And they're special. They're some special kids, because there's no doubt in my mind there's something there. There had to be a reincarnated something going on, because it's too much evidence between the 4 that you can actually see.
That's really cool. So it's good that it comes back.
Yeah, that's why I'm hopefully something happened to me, I get recycled. Or if I get asked, hey, Terry, hey, man, you want to get recycled? We'll throw you back in a little big head baby body. No problem.
Sure, why not? Can I grab my power cord real quick?
Go right
I don't want to, okay, I don't want to disappear on you, so I'm enjoying talking to you. Where is my power cord? Oh. You can keep talking, I can hear you. Oh, there it is. Sorry, I told you, I'm just so discombobulated today. Okay. Woo. Okay, sorry.
Oh, you're good. You're good.
That's funny that you were talking about that. I had a lady. I've had several. Well, not several, 4 or 5 past life regressions, because I think I can actively remember about 9 I've had, and this lady told me about so many others. And so she starts describing me. She's like, you like, muscle cars and loud music, and you like to drag race, and you like all this stuff. I'm like, okay, you're just describing me now. because she was
Right.
saying this is your last life that she was describing. So you're describing me now. And she's like, no, you actually were born in the 40s. You died in the early 60s. Boom, you didn't finish what you were here to do in that life, so you immediately came back. And I was like, okay, that would explain my love of muscle cars, my love of Elvis and the 50s music. And, you know, I grew up during the civil rights. I remember I had family in Viter. I remember seeing burning crosses. I know how that affected me, you know, and
Right.
it's whatever I was born for in my last life, I didn't complete because apparently I was
Wow.
drag racing or something. Ended that life too quickly. And so boom, I came right back.
Ain't
But,
that something? I mean, you mentioned Elvis. Yo, you a big Elvis fan?
I love Elvis impersonators. Yes.
You love it? So what do you think? So what do you think about this new movie coming out?
There's a new movie? I
Yeah,
don't know.
there's
About
an
it.
Elvis. There's an Elvis documentary coming out, The Life of Elvis, from
Ooh.
the time that he's born and how he became the man that that everybody see now,
Mhm.
until the point where he's had his kid, wife, and he passed away in the late, what he died at 79, 77, 78, somewhere around there.
Somewhere in there.
So
I don't
yeah,
remember.
it's supposed to be a good movie that but the thing is, I hope they do it right.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I
I've
really do.
actually, yeah, I've been to Graceland, you know, the big conspiracy that his name is not spelled correctly on his grave, so he's really not in there. How can you misspell somebody's name on their grave? It's the first question. And he had all this money, why didn't they fix it? But it's always been weird.
Right.
Mm,
Yeah,
but,
right. You got a point there. Well, I know
but
he.
yeah, I know the way that I was raised, there was a lot of abuse in my family, and my dad left when I was 8 and kind of grew up on my own. And there's a lot of crap I went through and hard times, but that doesn't define me. It shaped me. No doubt,
Yeah,
it definitely shaped me, but it doesn't define me. And I think Elvis is the same way. He grew up in hardship, and he was a really generous man. And I don't think he gets enough credit for that. But,
yeah,
oh,
and
I'm looking forward to it now. Yay.
yeah. If you Google it, if you YouTube it, it'll probably show you the previews of it.
Oh, good.
I mean, I was raised in the 80s, so I'm not a big Elvis fan.
Mhm.
I do know some things about him. I know he was probably turning over in his grave when his daughter married Michael Jackson for some weird reason. I think that
Yeah,
was it was just a stunt. I think
I think
so.
so.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Why
don't
she
know.
married Nicolas Cage. I don't know about that one.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know why. And his wife, is she still alive?
Yeah.
Priscilla's still alive, right?
Mhm. Yeah, she's probably in her 70s now,
Yeah, she's
maybe
probably, because she
late
was
70s.
young. She was
Mhm.
young when they married.
Yeah, he had to wait until she turned 18, I think is what it was. They
Yeah. So she was young. Wow,
mhm.
that's cool, dude. But all right, Victoria, tell me how the world can get a hold of you. If they want to
Well,
come talk to Victoria, how would they get a hold of you?
well, there's two ways. Well, yeah. The easiest way I think would be on Twitter. You can just find me with my first initial V, last name Monday. And you know, just send me a message. Or if you want to do Facebook, you just look up Victoria Monday's paranormal activities, send me a message there. And always happy to talk to somebody. I'll talk to anybody.
Well, you know what? How often do you guys do your podcast? Once a week?
Every Tuesday night at 7:30 Texas time. We're ending it March 29th because Mike has some new things he's going to do. And that'll be the end.
So why come you don't continue?
Who am I going to talk to? He's
You'd be
got all the
surprised.
connections.
You will be surprised everybody wants to talk to somebody.
That's
You'd be
very true. They
surprised.
do.
You'd be surprised, Victoria. I think you should continue doing it
Oh, okay. Well,
because I think
if,
the name itself is intriguing.
well,
So
that's his. the edge of the rabbit hole is his. So that's
Well, I think you should, I really think you should continue it.
okay. I will keep it under consideration. We had unfortunately layoffs last October, so I've been job searching.
Well, I understand that, but you know what?
But yeah, right now I need the flexibility of finding a job, getting a job. And once I secure that, then I think I can start moving forward and making some more plans, and who knows? I'll never say no to anything.
Right.
Which explains college.
Because you know what? You get them YouTube channels up, you get them YouTube numbers up, you ain't gotta worry about no job. Cause that right there is gonna pay your bills. You know what I'm saying?
Intriguing.
So,
okay.
Yeah, you know. So all right. Well, it's been a pleasure talking to you, Miss Munde.
Oh no, it's been my honor. Thank you so much for having me.
I would love to have you on again. Now, the plan is with NSPS Paranormal Podcast is the reason why we're going around the state is I am planning having a Texas four-corner paranormal forum. I'm getting, yes, I'm having the best paranormal investigators from the four corners of Texas. We're all going to come together on, I'm not for sure if it might be Facebook Live or Zoom. It won't be Zoom for sure. It'll definitely be either Facebook Live or YouTube Live.
I found my login. I'm good with Zoom now.
Yeah, so we're going to come together and we're going to discuss Texas paranormal.
Oh, that would be exciting.
That's what I'm looking for. Now, I'm planning on doing this in late April. Now, I might push it back because there is so many of us, which are, I mean, by paranormal investigators in the state. I think we have more paranormal investigators in the state of Texas than any other state in the country.
Probably, because we're a big state.
Yeah, we're a big state. So I don't want anybody to think that I left them out. I'm trying to reach out to as many of us as we can. Right now, I'm averaging maybe 3 to 4 podcasts a week on the weekend. Yeah, so
busy.
Now, hey, work and all that stuff and doing this. So that is my goal. So and I always tell people, just because I did not pick you doesn't mean that you won't be the one for the following month.
Right.
So I want to do this every month, getting together,
that's a great idea.
Discussing. Yeah, because nobody's doing it.
Nope.
Nobody's doing it. And and not only that, I'm learning as I go, because I've only been a paranormal investigator for 2 years. And I've only been a podcast, doing this podcast for a month.
Oh, wow.
So
well, congratulations.
Thank you.
You're doing a great job.
I am learning as I go. So that is my goal, is to have a big old meeting with everybody at least once a month, sit down, talk things paranormal, and enjoy the show.
That would be great. And have some barbecue or not.
I'm kind of sick of barbecue. Hey, I mean, it depends on who cook it and what it is.
Okay, Bluebell.
Huh?
Can we go Bluebell?
Bluebell?
Ice cream?
Of course. Come on, there's always room for Bluebell.
That's what I say.
It would have to be either, now they don't make these no more because of whatever they did. It would have to be vanilla swirl, because I like the vanilla swirl with the chocolate swirled in it.
Yeah.
And it had the nuts in there, or cookies and cream. My favorite.
Do you know Bluebell actually created cookies and cream?
Really?
Yep. They were the first ones.
Hey, because HEB,
you can't go wrong.
HEB did a horrible job.
Oh, yeah.
I don't like HEB cookies and cream.
No, but HEB has one called Chocolate Indulgence. It's
never tried that one.
Sweet taste of heaven is what it is.
Well,
it's good.
I can't eat as much sweets as I used to. I'm pre-diabetic, so the doctor told me to cut off all
Yeah.
the sweets and all that stuff. I used to sit on my couch and watch Ghost Files all day, just eating cookies and milk.
Oh,
Next thing you know, I done went through a jumbo bag of cookies and
it's
half a
hard.
gallon of milk.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, I have to put
I
them in little Tupperware things. And so like, okay, I can just eat this mindlessly. And when it's gone, it's gone.
no, I'll end up going back and get, long as I got milk, I want cookies. So I like,
know.
all that, eating it. And I'm like, well, finally, had to go to the doctor. He said, well, you're pre-diabetic. You have to change your entire life.
Mhm.
I'm like, oh, come on, dude.
Yeah, I think we're all going through that now. I mean, I know I don't even want to tell you how much I've lost and gained since COVID started.
But here's
you
the
know,
thing,
it's-
dude. Everything is, they make everything on this planet not good for you. So what's actually good for you unless you go totally organic? Now, if you go
Mhm.
totally organic, there's some things on in there that's not even good for you.
Yeah.
Oh God, dude. You can't eat bananas. You can't eat oranges. You can't eat apples. You can't eat peaches and pears. I mean,
You
grapes are
can't?
out the window. You can't eat anything.
Oh no. I love my pears.
Yeah, I mean, you can't drink. I mean, you can drink, but it had to be like certain types of wines or, something. Name a liquor or some kind of alcoholic that don't have some kind of sugar base to it.
Oh, tequila.
I didn't think of that.
Tequila is the only one. And you don't really have a hangover the next day.
Yeah, but
So I've heard.
boy. Tequila.
It
See,
doesn't take
but
much.
I have to have, see, the thing about tequila is either you mix it, you do it straight, or you can mix it with, where the sugar comes in is when you mix it with a daiquiri, or
Oh.
you mix it with a margarita.
Just sip straight. Just sip
Oh
it.
my God, dude. I would have to eat a lot. You know what? That's where that barbecue come back, because I would have to eat a lot of barbecue to drink tequila. If not, I'll be hanging over the toilet for at least an hour.
I'm just saying we learned a lot of stuff at Sam Houston.
Yeah, I can see. All right. Victoria, it has been a pleasure talking to you, my friend.
Oh no, it was so much fun. It was all my
And I would love to do it again.
Oh yeah.
If we can, before your friend shuts it down, I would love to have him on the podcast.
Okay, I'll mention it to him.
Reach out to him, see what he says. Hopefully he can agree to it. And we can do this again. Hopefully, when is his last day? When is he planning on stopping?
Our last guest is March 22nd.
Okay.
And then he and I are just going to chit chat and probably boohoo and cry March 29th. I'm trying to turn it into a drinking game, but I don't know.
So between that time and the last time you guys would be your last podcast, I would love to be on the show.
Okay. Well, I know we have guests the last few weeks, but I'll reach out to, and he did say he's reserving the right to bring it back. And we're going to do some pop-ups every now and then. We have Alexander Holzer coming back this fall.
Just pop me in for 20 minutes. Okay. I like to say hello. Hey, how you guys doing? And this podcast has really been cool. We didn't get raw and uncut like I have in the past. I didn't do any cussing or any of that bad stuff, so I actually been a good boy.
Yes.
But like a couple of weeks ago, it got kind of rowdy on here. So yeah, I mean, it's pretty fun. I don't mind being rowdy, but it's fun for me. I really enjoy it.
Yeah. I enjoy meeting all the different people.
Yeah, and that's the reason why
I have learned so much. Yeah, it's fun.
And I get a chance to learn so many different ways from our state, because every four corners of our state, no matter if you're in South Texas, North Texas, East Texas, West Texas, you will always discover something new.
Oh yeah.
And you will always learn something new. That's why I'm on it. That's why, because I'm always learning. I'm just sucking the information in as I go.
Yeah, that's the best way.
But on March 6th, I have Miss Anderson coming on. I don't know if you know her.
No.
She is the one that I think she puts, hold on. Let me see. She puts all the ghost tours together for, let me see. She put all the ghost tours on for, oh man, where is she? I think for Mineral Wells,
Oh, okay.
Fort Walters, and a couple others. Yeah, well, it took me a while to get her.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, the Nazareth Fort, the old Fort Walters military
Okay.
base, and her name is, I call her Miss Anderson. Let me see if I can find her name. Nope, I can't think of her name.
Okay.
I just call her Miss
call her that.
Anderson. Miss Anderson, yeah, but she does all of that. She sets up all the investigations for those three particular places.
Oh, that'll be
And
fun.
and I know she has a story to tell because she's always there. And I know she's seen some amazing things. So I would
Yeah.
love to get her on the show. And
Can
that's
get us in the
March,
baker.
yeah. And that is March 6th. So I am going now with her. I am going to go Facebook Live, even though she
Okay.
says she don't have a big following, but just knowing who she is and what she does, and the many paranormal investigators she's have encountered, and I think that would be a good success. Having that actual live, and hopefully we'll get the numbers up.
Yeah, it sounds
Okay.
great. I'll tune in.
Please do. Please
I will.
do. And tell your cats I said hello.
I will. They're all
And
upstairs somewhere.
And you have yourself a wonderful night. And
thank you.
like
You
I said,
too.
it's been a pleasure. And if you can reach out to me about your friend, that would be great.
Okay, I'll ask him when I talk to him again.
All right. Hey,
Oh, it's so nice to meet you.
yeah, nice to meet you too. And one last thing. Hey, this is NSPS TV Paranormal Podcast signing off. And you know how we do it, guys. Peace. Bye, Victoria.
Bye. Have a good night.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.